Hi guys, today we'll be talking about the typical ideal properties that most people are generally looking for. Like for example, they want, or TT must be freehold, must be within 1-2 minute walk from walks from MRT, must be within near amenities and malls, must be within 1 km of good schools, and then blah blah blah, or must be cheap, all these kind of things. And then they realize they cannot find anything on this market. Okay, even sometimes during buyer's market, they find it difficult. So today we'll be looking at some of these so-called ideal properties that fit most people's so-called criteria, and how do they actually perform in the market over the past few years. And then we will see whether all these criteria are generally so-called as important as people think they are. But as usual, a disclaimer, whatever I share here is just based on my own point of view and no research, then doesn't represent any other people's. So just make sure you do your due diligence. So the common criteria that we'll be looking at today will generally be these four, but more of the top three, because some of these examples later I'll be showing you does not have this due to the fact that it's very hard to find all four. You see, even if I want to find something, no, it's not even like a good performance. I want to find all four also gonna have a problem already. So now I try to find as many as I can for these three, and then I'll show it to you guys. As to standardize lah, we use this list by Ismail Tutor. I know there is no accurate gauge. There's no one accurate gauge of which one is the best primary school. But I try to use this top 45 over here. I use 45 because my screen couldn't zoom out anymore to 50 and to 45 and above. So I just use this top 45. And generally within this top 45 list, you will notice that people in the area will generally see them as a good school. So I think it's quite a fair way to compare lah. First one we'll be looking at will be your King Albert's Park area. Let's see what is the main school that we have over here is Methodist Girls School. For people looking at the area generally, for girls school, this is one of the very popular schools in the area lah. And then you got your Methodist Girls, and then now the thing we are looking at is actually KP Residences. Walking distance to MRT, so you got MRT take already. Is it freehold? It is freehold. And then Methodist Girls is a good school, and then you got your mall, and then your amenities all over the other side. So that means you fulfill most of the criteria. And then we look at the performances. Over the past few years, it has been seeing rather disappointing results, and then you got one quarter suddenly shoot up. But generally, you can see the prices between quarters can fluctuate a lot. So, and then the fluctuation can be within 200k, 200, no, I mean my bad, 200 PSF. 200 PSF can make or break a person's transaction, whether is it even profitable or is it even underwater. And I think as long as you are not making 100 PSF profit, generally you are not making money lah. Let's just face it lah. As you can see over here, you got all these few criteria: freehold, good school, MRT, walking distance, and then amenities and malls nearby. And you don't see the so-called expected results that you will want, right? Because a lot of people are saying, I must see all these. Then if not, then I don't feel it's a good investment, or I don't think it's a good place for me to stay. That's why it really depends on what you are looking for. Are you looking for your own stay, or are you looking for more for like a profit kind of a perspective? Next one will be the Newton area. We are looking at Gill State 2, which is also a freehold development. You got an MRT walking distance just opposite only. And then you got your food over here. If you want to, you can go over to the other side, which is the Novena. You got quite some malls over there. And then you got ACS Primary School. On this list is ranking number 7, top 10 some more. Definitely is a good school that a lot of people are queuing up for. And let's see the results. Over the past few years, you can see results are not as what most people think. I mean, they were thinking what can go wrong, right? You got MRT, you got food, you got your schools, you got freehold, and then you all know that Newton is a very good location, very close to town. In fact, you just go down, you're already reaching town already. So what can go wrong, right? And let's move on to the next place. We got your Bishan. where we are looking at is Sky Habitat. This one, unfortunately, we do not have freehold for this, but we got one of the top schools in Singapore in form of Catholic High. Of course, the primary school is the other side lah. And then you've got your sports amenities over here. You got your MRT over here. You got your mall and all the other amenities around in this neighborhood. Basically, you got nothing that you are lacking in here. And if you want to walk to MRT, this is a very, very short walk. And then you got Cat High on ranking number 2 on this list. And we see over the past few years, it's been generally going sideways for the past 10 years. And we all know that as long as you are holding on to one property that goes sideways for 10 years, and you are basically definitely going underwater. Next one will be Clementi area. You got Trilink, which is also not a freehold. And then you got MRT, you got Clementi Mall, so that clears our mall amenities. And also you got a good school, which in this list is number 4 on the list. Nanhua. Generally, same, also going sideways, rise a little bit, only maybe 1/4 that has a surge above the 1,006 PSF. But other than that, maybe only this guy managed to came out profitable. Let's not mention those people who got in here. Of course, they are here. But those people who got in at launch, actually, they thought that this is a place that they couldn't be wrong, right? You have good school, you got MRT, you got mall, and then what can go wrong? You got a mature estate, and people like to say Clementi is like a $1 million estate, even though the location is not exactly like central. Location is good to those people who are in the west, of course. But you can see over here the numbers and the chart speaks for itself, and nobody can cook this data up other than the URA and SRX who help to report all this data, right? The other one will be Hougang. Now looking at Midtown residences, you got Hougang Mall, you got MRT within walking distance, and you also got Holy Innocent Primary School, top 14 in this list. Basically nothing much for people northeast to complain about. Look at the chart over here, sideways. Okay, so unless you can tell me ATT, no, there are people who got in here. If you are the perfect market reader, you can time here, then I will suggest please do yourself a favor, just turn on this video and go and you do your thing. Even I'm not that confident that I can spot such a deal in time, you know. And then the other thing will be these two, you got Daniel Suites, and you also got One Duchess. Over here, you got Tan Kah Kee MRT. You also have Coronation Shopping Plaza, which fulfills your so-called, not really like a mall, but rather you got quite some options over here, like food options, groceries over here. And then you got a number 1 on this list, Nanyang Primary, and these two are 999 or freehold. And let's see how their performance is. This one is newer, going to the sideways, and the other one went down. So does this mean that, today I look at a property, it must be within MRT, it must be within your good school, it must be within your mall, and then all these and then maybe even freehold, and nothing can go wrong in that sense? If that is what you think, then you're ignoring the base, what the stories, or the hidden stories that the numbers and charts are actually telling. And if that is the case for you, it seems more like you're making your move based on more of your own emotional needs rather than actually more for profit seeking or investment related kind of objective. So today, these 4 criteria may be your meat, but it may be another person's poison. Okay, what do I mean? Example, for you, that must be MRT. But have you actually thought of the fact that actually most condo stayers or owners, they have they have their own form of transport, which is what cars lah. They do have multiple cars. The place where I stay in, there is one guy with 3 or 4 cars. So does it mean that you must always be near MRT? And then does it always have to be or near good schools? Because nowadays there are more and more people that I talk to, they are not really giving too much focus on the so-called good schools, because they themselves don't come from good schools, but they are on very, very good jobs with very, very good salaries in their 20s or even 30s, and they don't see the point in rushing for these good schools, because nowadays the society is different. Soft skills are generally seems to be a lot more important than the so-called academic skills as the olden times, the like 20, 30 years ago, that sort of thing. And then malls and amenities, since if you got transport that is settled, do you really need to stay next to the mall? I think that is not really a necessity. And at the end of the day, you've got your entry price, that is that whether people they think about it, they realize, is it justifiable for me to enter this location, this specific location at this price, or will I want something newer at a lower price, or etc. So basically, just remember your criteria. You got all these different criteria, doesn't mean that the other person that's going to be buying your criteria, that's going to be buying your property, is seeking for the same old criteria. You got this girl over here looking for 4 and more criteria, but you only got this guy looking for 2 criteria. Okay, at the end of the day, who can be trusted? I think the idea is simple. I for myself, I choose not to be emotional. I choose not to be biased. I choose to look at where the numbers lead me. As long as I see a few developments, as long as I see developments with very consistent patterns across different parts of Singapore, they have very consistent characteristics. The fundamentals are pretty much similar, and they are producing very similar results in terms of profitability. Then I think that is generally what people will want to look for, as compared to what you want to look for. And hence, you can see over here, I especially selected rather recent developments. You can see over here, they are for the past almost, actually I select 10 years, but apparently these guys are the oldest over here. And then you've got these guys, they are not near MRT. Okay, they are definitely not near MRT now. And then, of course, next time future plan, whichever it is, government want to come out with MRT 20 years down the road, then who knows. But for now, they are definitely not near MRT. They're not within walking distance to MRT. They do not have a mall right next to them in terms of accessibility to shopping center, and a supermarket right next to me. And then they do not have good schools in the top 45 list that I showed you just now. Whether is it top 50, I also don't think so. But top 45, they are definitely not there. And all of them are not freehold. So does it mean that you must fulfill all these so-called criteria in order for you to be safe for your next resale group of buyers to be coming in to buy your flat at a profitable margin? So these are 5 developments. If you want to know them, then you can just PM me, and maybe I'll share with them. I'll share with you. But for now, I choose not to. And so definitely we need to know, for your next move, are you actually buying more for profits, or your own emotional needs, what you believe in, what you think a property should have before you think it is a profitable investment? If you are using too much of your emotional needs to justify your purchase, then I would say very likely you will end up either not buying anything, or not investing in anything, or you will end up buying into something that you feel is justifies the price, but you end up buying something that is wrong in terms of profitability, because there are a lot of developments out there. There are a lot of agents out there preaching what you want to hear versus what the numbers actually show. And if you are focused on the numbers and focus on the fundamental characteristics that ensure the higher probability of profitability, then if you look at numbers, there is very likely that you will stay in this part of the spectrum. Whereas if you choose to be more emotional, very likely you will see the graphs that you have seen just now in this session. Okay, why? Because I am very confident most of the previous owners that got into the specific developments just now, they all were shopping around with their own set of criteria, and then they didn't realize that 5 to 10 years down the road, if the performance wasn't what I was actually looking for. So was it worth the so-called emotional beliefs, the emotional needs that they were putting in focus at that point? I think I'll leave it to you, and hence that's why I think, as usual, it also always boils down to how objective you are. Because a lot of you who come to me, you realize that, hey, I want to buy for investment. And then whenever I bring up numbers and then I bring up a suggestion, I realize what comes to their mind is that they're not being rational anymore, because they can come to ATT, I want to buy for investment. But the things that they justify, the things that the concerns that they bring up, is not to say that it's not valid. But at the end of the day, remember, numbers make sense, because If not, if the numbers don't make sense, these five without fulfill any of these criteria, they wouldn't have been able to make money. But because there are a lot of people who choose not to choose to find people or find agents that sing the song they want to sing, and or rather they sing the song they want to hear, and hence they will end up being like these guys over here. Right? That's why it is important to be objective. Look at the numbers and then do your due diligence, and don't simply wait and wait and wait without knowing what you actually want. It's okay to wait if you know if you are very certain there are upcoming very good opportunities, because the market is not as optimistic as it is, then you feel that it is rather a good move to wait, then by all means. But if you know the market is not in your favor, then you have to pick up deals that are rather good. You may not be picking up as good a deal in the perfect buyer's market, but you can definitely pick up a good deal that can help you ride out the next 3 to 5 years before you hop on to the next better move, right? So that is what we have for today in terms of shopping around for whether is it essential for you to be selecting your so-called ideal properties, or should you be actually remaining more objective when it comes to your own research. And if you have any questions, you got any if you need any help when it comes to your property investment journey, then do feel free to drop me a text and I'll see how I can help out. That will be all we have, and see you guys. Bye bye.